Online Racing by Elgato. Great, lovely stream deck. For more information about the stream deck, the link is in the description below.
Hello and welcome to round 15 of the AOR Hype Energy PS4 OCEANIA League here in Marina Bay for the Singapore Grand Prix. My name is Expert and I'll be your commentator for tonight's race. We're here at arguably one of the hardest and most physical tracks on the F1 calendar. The Marina Bay Street Circuit is one of 3 circuits that compete under lights and has been known as the F1 night race over time. This spectacular circuit includes a track length of 5.063 kilometers and 23 corners. The winner of the 2019 Singapore Grand Prix was controversially Sebastian Vettel, who led his teammate Charles Leclerc to the first Ferrari 1-2 since the Hungarian Grand Prix in 2017. The driver with the most wins around here is Sebastian Vettel with 5 wins next to his name, and Ferrari are equal with Mercedes on wins at the Singapore Grand Prix with 4 wins to the 2 works teams. So as you can see on your screens now, here are a few track facts. Obviously we are in Singapore for the Singapore Grand Prix around the Marina Bay Street Circuit. 23 turns, 5.063 kilometers. Track difficulty very hard. Definitely I can agree with that one, as it is definitely one of the most challenging tracks on the calendar after or around Monaco. Challenging, actually, to be honest. And the track record around here is set by Lewis Hamilton with a 1 minute 36.015. The season 3 pole was set by VP Norfolk Blue with a 1 minute 34.982, and the season 3 results, he managed to convert that into a win ahead of Pure Axel on the Mercedes and the Ferrari of MLJH999. So we're going to have a look now at your results for the Italian Grand Prix. As you can see, the PS4 F1 on the left-hand side of your screen. P. Crine managed to win the Italian Grand Prix ahead of the McLaren driver of 40, who put in a very nice result and had a lot of pace compared to the other races he had previously done. Same as Plebs in the Italian Grand Prix. Very nice job from those two. Then you have Spilly, who's been very consistent this season, managing to get into the top 4. And I contrast, who I do believe started in P2 if I was correct. Unfortunately, I had to drop down to P5 with F1 amazing out. Shockingly, I was about to say tragic, but shockingly, shockingly DNFing at the exit of the Ascari chicane, and the pole position time was a 1 minute 18.750. We're going to have a look now at the championship standings for you. As you can see, F1 Amazing Hour in the Williams is still leading on 293 points and ahead of Pete Crine in the Mercedes on 233. I Contrast has now moved himself up in a third as Darren has left the league due to his other commitments, which I did talk about last week on. So he is now into P3 for Ferrari, then P4 for Spilly, who's definitely probably been the most consistent driver out of anyone in this league, sitting in 4th at the moment for Racing Point. Very nice job for him. Plebs, who gained himself a few points there from the Italian Grand Prix, sitting in 3rd at the moment. Sorry, who finished 3rd, I should say, is now in P5 for Renault. 6th is Dubsy for Ferrari. Then you got the other Racing Point of Crossy, then the newly signed Mercedes AMG F1 driver of J Banks, replacing Darren 11's seat. Then you got Swaggy in the Alfa Romeo in P9, and Stuart McKenzie, who are definitely going to be looking for a good result this weekend, considering he's been doing pretty average since Monaco. He had a really good round in Monaco, but unfortunately has not been able to convert that pace around to the next few meetings. But then, as you can see now, here is the rest of the driver standings. You have Sergio B in 11th for McLaren, then the Toro Rosso driver splitting the 2 McLarens, I should say, of 40 and Sergio B in 12th and 40 13th. 14th is the Rumble, 15th Andre, 16th the Hairy Tomato, Aaron 17th, 18th Gaming Wafer, 19th El Tonki, and rounding out your top 20 for Renault, who has only unfortunately scored 1 point this season, is Toddster. Now we're going to have a look at your constructors standings. It is Mercedes AMG F1 that lead the way on 382 points as it stands at the moment, ahead of the Williams, I was about to say Martini, Rocket Williams F1 team. MP2 at the moment on 335 points. Ferrari sitting on 214, so there's a pretty sizable margin at the moment between the top two teams, and Ferrari sitting in third. Then you got Racing Point in fourth at the moment, ahead of the Renault F1 team sitting in P5 on 110 points. Then you have McLaren on 59 points, 55 points for Alfa Romeo. Very tight battle between the McLaren and the Alfa Romeo team. Then you got Toro Rosso down in P8, and unfortunately for Red Bull, who have only scored 13 points this season, sitting in 9th, and Haas, who have only scored 7 points, sitting in P10. So that is your drivers' standings. We're going to head over now to the main screen. As you can see, the drivers are heading out for their qualifying session here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit, and believe it or not, it is actually raining at the moment. It is raining here, so unfortunately from my view, I cannot see how long the rain's going to stay around for, but the majority of drivers are heading out for very early lap here. As you can see now, there's Dubsy heading out of the pits for Ferrari. I do apologise for the little stream lag that did happen at the start of the race as well, with a few of the ads. I do apologise for that, and I do apologise as well for any further lag in advance. Anyway, you can see the majority of the drivers are heading out for their qualifying session now in the Grand Prix. Sorry, for the qualifying session. There is 18 minutes the drivers have to set the fastest possible time to decide where they start for the Singapore Grand Prix. Unfortunately, I do not know or have any idea where anyone's going, or what the weather's going to be doing, I should say. And then also what the weather's going to be doing in the race, so that's going to be interesting. I do apologise I didn't turn the desktop audio on, but anyway. See, the majority of drivers are out at the moment. Plevs, El Tonki and Spilly and Storm McKenzie, the only drivers that have not actually what's the word, come out of the pit yet. F1 Amazing Hours, the first driver to be setting a lap here for this afternoon's Grand Prix. He's definitely going to be wanting a bit of redemption after the Italian Grand Prix disaster that he had. He was having a pretty rough weekend as well in other leagues that he was competing in. He had absolutely zero luck at all, to be honest. But anyway, Amazing Hours about to cross the first sector line. Let's see what time he does. He does a 30.2. I'm not too sure about sector times around here, but I can tell you, so I don't want to say that's a really good sector time or it's a really bad sector time, let alone in the rain, so I'm not too sure. But this corner, I definitely know. Very easy to run wide and lose the rear, as F1 Amazing Hour did there. He ran really wide on exit. And very easy to lock up into that left-hander as well, as it has a wall very close to the outside, or the entry outside of the corner, I should say. Coming into the hairpin now. Braking and turning for the majority of these middle sector corners, so very easy to lock up and lose traction. Short shifting into third, fourth and fifth gear there was Amazing Hour, just to maximize the amount of traction he had on exit of the corner. He's coming through this 90 degree, yes, it is 90 degree. Now he actually hits the wall there on entry to the final sector, does Amazing Hour, so that could potentially cost him a little bit of front wing damage there for the Williams driver. He's going to continue on though, just to get a bank lap in. As I said, I'm unfortunately not too sure on how what's a quick qualifying time around here, I should say. Around the 1 minute 18s, low 1 minute 18s are a good dry tyre time, I'm pretty sure, but obviously that's in previous years. Now, Amazing Hour's the first across the line. He sets a 1 minute 52.6 for the Williams team. We'll try and find some other drivers that are about to complete their lap. We're going to ride on board with Jay Banks now, our newly signed Mercedes driver. Coming across the line now, where does he move himself up into? P2 with a 53.0, 4 tenths between him and the Williams driver of Amazing Hour. Eye contrast now is coming through the hairpin. He's going to have a little bit of slipstream at the moment from Pete Crichton ahead of him, so that could potentially help him. Aaron's now set a 1:55.4 into P3. The harsh driver goes. Doesn't seem to be a very competitive time there from the harsh driver, so he's probably going to have to go out again for another time lap. I do believe Pete's actually on a time lap as well. Now Crossy moves up into P2 with a 52.9. Harry Tomato into P4 with a 53.5. All these drivers on the intermediate tyre, but now Dubsy actually goes fastest with a 52.3 there for the Ferrari. 52.5, I should say. Very nice lap there from the Ferrari driver. Showed a lot more pace than he has in the previous races. Last race did Dubsy at the Italian Grand Prix. Runs a little while and exit there. Did eye contrast. Where's this going to put him? He's going to go P2 behind his teammate very marginally at the moment. That's actually 4/1000ths of a second between the two Ferrari drivers. So that's a very nice job there from the Works Ferrari team, the Scuderia team from Italy. Definitely be making headlines if these two can manage to keep that 1-2 going for the qualifying session, like they are like the two Ferraris in the qualifying session at Singapore, in real life I should say. Amazing how now, setting his second lap, is now going fastest with a 52 flat. I think the smart thing would be with these, well, the smart thing to do on the intermediate tyres, especially in this F1 game, is to set one lap on 0 ERS just to get a banker lap in. But then the next lap, that's when you turn up the ERS and go hard again, just because then it's very hard to get a lot of heat into these tyres, and going fast around this circuit is definitely a way of getting a lot of heat into the tyres, because it is a very twisty and bumpy track as well. They'll get a lot of heat into your tyres when you go quick or faster than your in or out lap. But it is currently still amazing how who leads the timing sheets at the moment. In the Williams ahead of the two Ferraris of Dubsy in contrast in P2. So now you can see this is Dubsy going again. He probably is cooling off the tyres a little bit too much. As you can see, he's had to correct the steering there. That could potentially invalidate his lap time already, but he's still pushing on. He's coming into turn 1 now. Turns it in nicely, does Dubsy. Uses all the entry apron possible. Clips it to the curb nicely. Runs it out wide. DRS is actually now enabled, so the track's drying up. So you might see a few more drivers coming out on the dry tyre now. He's going to have DRS now as Dubsy, so this is most likely going to move him up to pole position just due to the fact that he has DRS. He's already 4/10 up on his previous time, so I definitely think this is going to be the crossover point between the dry and intermediate tyres. Dubsy definitely seems to be, most likely will be the last driver to be able to set a lap on this intermediate tyres. On these intermediate tyres, I should say. He will most likely go to pole position. Will Dubsy, provisionally. He's actually backed off now as Dubsy, so he's obviously thought the conditions are too dry. So we're going to see now there will be a few, there's a lot of drivers in the pit lane, and they most likely will be coming out on the soft tyre. And I did just see the racing point there of Spilly. He is actually on the hard tyre. So I'm not too sure that's going to go for him, considering there will not be much grip on the track at the moment. So you're ideally wanting to be going on the softest of tyres. But as you know, if you watch any of the F1 esports drivers or even TRL Limitless, he definitely likes to do the medium to soft tyre strategy, or the harder tyre to start the race with around this track, just because the tyre degradation on the soft tyre around here does not last long at all. And it opens more strategy windows for you as well when you start on the harder tyre. So starting on the hard tyre is very ambitious for Spilly. I could understand a medium set, but a hard tyre is going to be very ambitious, especially off the start of the race, considering that there will not be much grip off the line for the Racing Point driver. That must mean that there will be no rain. He's pulling off to the side at the moment. I do believe he's just trying to get out of the way of a driver. As you can see, just watch the tyres. As you can see in the middle of your screen there, you can see just the water coming off the tyres there of Spilly. I actually think he's trying to give his teammate a little bit of a tow there. I'm not too sure. Was that his teammate? Yeah, it was his teammate Crossy behind him, but I think Crossy's just come out on a lap now. So the majority of drivers will be on their out lap now due to the fact that the conditions have swapped from wet to dry. Majority of drivers didn't even go out for an intermediate lap as well. Only 8 drivers completed an intermediate tyre run. Them being Gaming Way for Aaron, Harry Tomato, J-Banks, Crossy, Contrast, Dubsy, and F1 Amazing Hour. So this is Spilly's first run of the session. We're going to ride on board with him throughout this lap. We're going to see how he goes. Up in the hot lap, the Racing Point driver goes. Starting lap now, gets a little bit of wheel spin on the exit of the final corner. Now he's going to come up into the first turn, using all the entry apron. Brakes pretty early, actually. Cuts that corner very briefly. He could have potentially invalidated his lap time there. He's still pushing on at the moment. There's yellow flags in sector 2 and 3. So someone could have potentially crashed, or maybe just getting out of the way. He's actually got a massive tank slapper there. Has Spilly, and I'm very surprised if he did not get his lap time invalidated there. He did, because he has now put it down into no ERS. Well, we're going to ride on board with his teammate anyway, Crossy, who is on a lap. I think Spilly's going to try and give him a little bit of a tow, potentially. I do believe Crossy is the first of the drivers out on the dry set of tyres. Gets very close to the exit wall there. See, that's actually Spilly just continuing on very marginally just to try and give his teammate an effective tow down the straight. That will be after this hairpin that they are both coming through now. So Spilly here is going to just give his teammate a very slight tow down the straight. Now he's going to pull off to the right. Crossy will be happy with that, giving him a bit of a margin. You can see 9 seconds up is Crossy at the moment, so he's going to go to pole position provisionally. There's a 9-second difference between the intermediate tyre. Locks up the inside front very briefly there, did the Racing Point driver. That cost him a little bit of understeer. Not a bad lap as it looks from Crossy. Have to see when the other drivers cross the line. Runs a little bit wide there on the second part of the chicane, but he's coming through the final corner now. Clip the first apex, run it out wide for the second. He's going to come across the line now, gets a lot of oversteer, and he's going to go. He's actually invalidated his lap time at the end there, so that's why. Actually, no, he does get a pole position. That was a bit of lag there, sorry. With the 1 minute 37.8. So nice lap there from Crossy. Amazing how he's run wide on exit. He's only 8.6 seconds up. So Crossy at the moment, at this same point, was actually up more on his fastest time than Amazing Hour is at the moment. So he's going to have to find a little bit of time as Amazing Hour. P. Crichton goes into P2. Doesn't manage to get ahead of Crossy. So Crossy's obviously set a very nice lap here compared to the other drivers. Everyone opting to use these hard set of tyres at the moment. Contrast now goes to the fastest with the 1 minute 36.4 on the medium set of tyre. Crossy, can I point out as well, was on the soft tyre. Pete setting on the hard. Amazing Hour goes to P2 now on the hard tyre with a 1 minute 37.6. 0.8 of a second between him and the current pole position leader or driver of Contrast. But anyway, Amazing Hour now sits P2. Todd says actually moved up into P5. Nice job there from the Renault F1 team. But as you can see on your screens now, this was the Season 3 qualifying time set by VP Norfolk Blue. A 1 minute 34.382. That was set in Season 3 of the AOR Oceanic League's PS4 League. As you can see, times have actually degraded a little bit since then. They've actually dropped by over 2 seconds nearly of a lap. So that's very interesting. As you can see how F1 games have evolved over time. Tots is now on an in lap. I'll try and find a driver that is on a fast lap. This is Del Tonki now. He's run a little bit wide on the exit of the hairpin, so I think that's going to cost him a little bit of time. Plebs is on a fast lap now. We're going to ride on board with him as he's coming through the final sector. I'm not too sure how much up he's on his time. It's not telling me at the top right hand corner, but he's going to come through the final sector now. He's actually on an in lap. He was obviously does not want to set a time on the soft tyre. He's got to get back out as there is only 3 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. That's actually the Mercedes there. Pulled off to the left hand side there of the track because his teammate was getting brought into the pit lane. See, that was actually the Red Bull and the Williams there, if you saw at the right hand side of your screen, getting very close in a little tight pit lane battle. but it is currently iContrast F1 with 3 minutes remaining in the session that sits on pole position for the Singapore Grand Prix ahead of F1 Amazing Hour at the moment. He's got a pretty sizable margin at the moment as Contrast, and then Crossy doing a very nice job at the moment in P3. The top three, may I point out, are all on different sets of tyres. Crossy being on the soft tyre, Amazing on the hard, and Contrast on the medium. P. Crine setting his lap time only 4th best at the moment on the hard tyre. Toddster is sitting in P5 on the soft tyre at the moment. But only 5 drivers at the moment have actually set a time on the dry tyres, may I point out. So now we're waiting for Dubsy, J-Banks, Tomato, Aaron, Gaming Wayfair, Old Tonky, Spilly, Plevs, Swaggy, Still McKenzie, and X Revolution to set a lap at the moment. That's 10 drivers have still not set a lap on the dry tyres. So this could be pretty risky for those 10 drivers because they're only going to get 1 run. So if they screw up this lap, they're going to be starting at the bottom of the grid for this afternoon's Grand Prix. This is the man sitting on pole position, as it is the Ferrari driver of iContrast. There's 0.8 of a second between him and F1 Amazing Hour. This man, who has now gone onto the medium tyre, obviously thinks the hard tyre is not going to be the tyre to get him onto pole position this afternoon. He'll be looking for redemption after his Italian Grand Prix mishap. Will Amazing Hour, well, his whole last weekend mishap, I should say. He didn't have any luck whatsoever. But he's actually got a little bit of traffic in front of him, so he's going to have to try and get in front of these people. That's Dubsy on your left too. Has not set a time yet on the dry tyre. Toddster has in front of him. Toddster's getting out of the way as well, so he's not going to interfere with it. Spilly now goes fastest for Racing Point with a 35.8, so that's absolutely smashed iContrast's time. Seven-tenths of a second between Spilly and Contrast. There's 40 seconds remaining in the session, may I point out. But now Spilly is sitting on provisional pole position. He's not going to get another lap in, so everyone is chasing down Spilly on a 35.8 at the moment. So this will be interesting. He is on the medium tyre as well. So this could play very good for Spilly. He's been known for doing very good qualifying performances, but unfortunately has had a little bit of bad luck at the start of the season. But coming towards the end of the season, he's definitely had the most consistency out of any other drivers. But as you can see, iContrast now starting his lap on the medium tyre. This will be a fresh set. He runs wide at turn 3 though, so that's going to cost him a little bit of time. Under the F1 2019 banner he goes. Runs wide again, does Amazing Hour, gets very narrowly, misses the exit wall there, so that's not going to be an ideal first sector there for the Ferrari driver. Let's see what his split time is. He's only slightly up 0.08 of a second at the moment. Jay Banks goes to P2 now for Mercedes. Nice job there. Still McKenzie goes into P3 for Williams. Also nice job from the Williams driver of Stuart McKenzie. Pretty much every driver at the moment is on their time lap or on their in lap. Swaggy and Revolution have failed to set a lap now, down in P15 and 16, so that's unfortunate there for them. Crossy now goes into P2 for Racing Point. Could this be a potential Racing Point 1-2 here for the Singapore Grand Prix? It looks like it's going to be that way. As it stands, Spilly has finished his lap as well. Storm McKenzie's finished his lap, so the top 4 have all finished their laps at the moment. We're waiting on this man. iContrast, I'm not sure if Amazing Hour's ahead. He is actually ahead of the Contrast at the moment. He actually cuts that corner massively. That is Amazing Hour, so he's going to chuck it back up into hot lap now. What time is Amazing Hour going to be able to do? Coming to the final corner, what can the Williams driver do? He goes to pole position with the 1 minute 35.8, narrowly ahead of the 2 Racing Points. Where does iContrast manage to get? He's coming through the final section now. Dubsy goes to pole position. Will Contrast be able to improve? No, he can't actually. He's actually a 10 slower than his previous time. Plevs goes the fastest now with the 1 minute 35.1. This is changing radically as it is. So now, who's on the fastest lap? Because they currently seem to be just going faster. P. Crine goes into P3. Plevs, the Renault driver, at the moment is the man sitting on pole position. I actually wish I saw that lap because that must have been a very good lap from the Renault driver to beat Dubsy, P. Crine and Amazing Hour. So track definitely seems to be gripping up the more the drivers go around it. But that is your provisional results there. Plebs in the Renault takes pole position for the Singapore Grand Prix for round 15 of the AOR Hype Energy PS4 Oceania League. As you see, Plebs takes pole position. Joining him on the second row will be Dubsy, who's actually done a very nice job there. 6/100ths of a second between the two front row drivers. Very nice job there from the two from the Renault and the Ferrari driver. Mercedes driver Pete Crine MP3 right beside his rival in the championship at the moment, F1 Amazing Hour, MP4. P5 is Spilly with his teammate alongside of an MP6. Jay Banks in the Mercedes, nice job from him. Ahead of Still McKenzie in the Williams. Then Todd Steen 9th, rounding out top 10 is the Ferrari of contrast. And you got Tomato, Aaron, Gaming Wafer, Elton Key, Swaggy, Revolution, who unfortunately did not set a time alongside Swaggy. We're going to let the drivers now head on over to the grid for the Singapore Grand Prix. As you can see now on your screen, the drivers are heading out for their formation lap. Plebs taking a very well-deserved pole position there ahead of the Ferrari driver of Dubsy. 6/100ths of a second between the front two drivers. You can see on the right-hand side of your screen now, you can see the Season 3 race results around the Singapore Grand Prix. VP Norfolk Blue managed to take the win, or convert his qualifying pole position to a win there in the Season 3 AOR race, ahead of Pure Axel 2121. And rounding out your podium is MLJH999 for your Season 3 Singapore Grand Prix results. We're also going to quickly have a look at the Italian Grand Prix results here for you. Just a reminder as well, at the last round, round 14 of the AOR Hype Energy PS4 Oceania League, P. Crine took out the win in Italy, ahead of 40 in the McLaren. Then this man, who is sitting on pole position, took out P3, or the last spot on the podium around the Temple of Speed at Monza. Now, as you can see, the plebs backing up all the drivers. Let me know in the live chat who you think is going to win. There are 31 laps around the Marina Bay Street circuit. If I had to be honest, my bets are actually on Pete Crine, to be honest. Pete Crine's been doing a lot of practice around here, as I've seen. And he's been very quick in the last few races. Definitely been able to contend for Amazing Hour for the wins. 4 wins, actually. Considering Amazing Hour's just been able to run away with it at the beginning of the season. You see the drivers are now forming up for the grid. Waiting for the like sequence to begin for the Singapore Grand Prix. As you can see, the lights are starting. There is 5 red lights ahead of the drivers. And the lights are out, they are underway. As you can see, Plebs gets a very nice start, but so does Dubsy. Heading into turn 1 they go. They're going to go side by side. That's actually amazing how diving down the inside. They made contact there. Did amazing how he made a very ambitious move there on the Ferrari and the Renault. They're going 3 wide on the exit of turn 3, I should say. But amazing how from P5 is now leading the Grand Prix. Didn't jump the start, may I point out, but it was definitely a very nice start and a very ambitious move from Amazing. Coming into turn 1, Dubsy manages to maintain P2, but now Plebs has definitely lost the most positions out of the front 5 there. He's dropped down from first to P4. He's now going to start to feel the pressure from Spilly and the other Racing Point of Crossy behind him, but he's actually got Jay Banks between the 2 Racing Points now in P6. A lot of battles going down at the back. I Contrast now in P10 at the moment. He actually qualified down the back, did Contrast. I didn't realise that. I just remembered that he's actually qualified down the back. So that's very unfortunate there for the Ferrari driver. You can see everyone's still very bunched up at the moment. No one's really lost some major positions besides Plebs at the moment. MP4. But Amazing how starting to feel a lot of pressure from Dubsy at the moment. Heading through the final sector, they go now. They're about to conclude the first opening lap of the Singapore Grand Prix. When they cross the line, they will have 30 laps remaining. Gets very close to that inside barrier there, did the Ferrari driver of Dubsy. I definitely think there won't be many overtakes till lap 3 when DRS is enabled. But Amazing how leads at the end of the first lap. He leads Dubsy heading into the first corner they go. It is amazing how Dubsy, P. Crichton, Plebs, and Spilly rounds out your top 5 ahead of Jay Banks, Crossy, Stuart McKenzie, Toddster, Contrast, Harry Tomato, Aaron, Gaming Wafer, Swaggy, El Tonki, and X Revolution round out your top 16. But as you can see, Dubsy is right behind Amazing Hour, but so is P. Crichton. Plebs has unfortunately fallen off a little bit. I think he's had a little bit of a tangle at the moment with Spilly. Jay Banks is right there as well behind that Racing Point. Crossy is now starting to hold up Stuart McKenzie behind him. Toddster has got his eyes on Stuart McKenzie ahead of him, but behind him, I Contrast has got his eyes on him. So this is going to be a very tight battle coming towards mid-race. As you can see, these drivers are very close to each other as it stands. Spilly right on the rear of Plebs. Plebs definitely struggling on those soft tyres at the moment. As I say, I definitely don't think softs were the right way to go for the start of the Grand Prix. As you can see, Plebs trying to do the wider turn in to straight line the exit to get the best possible exit down the straight, but it didn't look like he got that very nicely done because Plebs managed to pull a little bit of a gap on him. But anyway, the front 4 are still neck to neck, so the front 3 are still neck to neck at the moment. They are about to head on to lap 3, which will give DRS availability. Dubsy's actually pulling into the pits very early, so has he got front wing damage here? I think he actually does on his right end plate. I think that was for Dubsy. Very, very early pit stop there for the Ferrari. He's actually coming in for a scheduled pit stop, but now, as you can see, he's actually going to get held. Actually, no, the Ferrari team let him out at the absolute perfect moment behind the Racing Point there of Crossy. So I do not know if Crossy has any damage, but he's actually just come into the pits to change his tyres, so they've already worn out at the moment. As you can see, that's definitely going to be a little hinter to all the drivers that are on the soft tyre. We're going to swap this over to tyre so we can see who's on the soft. So the only drivers on the soft tyre at the moment is this man, Plebs, and Toddster, but actually that was still McKenzie running really wide on the exit of the hairpin. So this battle's starting to spice up a little bit now for P4. Still McKenzie's now managed to get himself up into P4, may I point out, ahead of Jay Banks. So that battle's going all the way back at the moment to the Gaming Wafer. So that battle for P4 at the moment is from Storm McKenzie, Jay Banks, Spilly, Toddster, Contrast, Aaron, Harry Tomato, Swaggy, and the Gaming Wafer. So as you can see, that's the 2 Alphas going at it. Coming into the right hand there, they manage to swap positions. Swaggy moves ahead of his teammate into P10, the final points paying position, ahead of his teammate now, Harry Tomato. Todd's is not doing too bad at the moment, sitting in P7 for Renault. He's got his teammate at the moment sitting in P3. P. Crine now goes fastest. He's got himself under a second. But as you can see on your screens now, this is the championship stand. Actually, that's not the championship standings. My bad. That is the championship standings there. You can see, so these two currently sitting P1 and 2 at the moment are the two battling it out for the championship. Amazing Hour has a pretty sizable lead at the moment, but that definitely came down considering his DNF last round at Italy. J Banks has actually Contrast has now moved himself up into P6. So Contrast has moved up 4 spots at the moment from P10. Nice job there from the Ferrari driver. Definitely seems to be pretty quick at the moment, or pretty racy I should say. Spilly's dropped 2 spots, so that he's going to have a little bit of work he's going to have to try and do. Still McKenzie's actually moved up the most. Actually no, it's actually Swaggy that's moved up the most spots at the moment. He's moved up 6 spots at the moment from P15. So this battle's starting to get a little reckless now. Drivers are starting to get a bit impatient. The longer you sit behind drivers around here, the more tyre wear you're just going to get. So they won't want to be sitting behind the driver in front of them for too long. You can see Contrast is already starting to pull a little gap to Spilly ahead of him. J-Banks isn't too far up the road at the moment. They're both getting held up by Plebs in the Renault in front of him. Now this is the gap, as you can see, heading on to lap 5 of the Grand Prix. 26 laps remaining. Is there already blue flags? Extra Evolution's actually gone down 3 laps already. So I think there's been a bit of an issue there with him. But anyway, now Dubsy goes fastest. Down in P13, who unfortunately had to make an early pit stop with Crossy in 14th due to, I believe, tyre wear. It's been too much of an issue for them. Still McKenzie now has got a head of Plebs up now. McKenzie got a massive tank slapper there on the exit. After the straight, Plebs are going to squeeze him against the wall. He actually did hit the wall. There, Stuart McKenzie, he's lost his front left end plate. He's actually ghosted there, has Stuart McKenzie, but now Plebs is going to lose 2 spots. 2 J Banks ahead of him, moving him down 2 more spots just to add to the bad start that the Renault driver of Plebs has had from pole position. He has unfortunately gone all the way back down to P5. And he's lost a lot of time while doing it. He's lost 8 seconds now to Amazing Hour. So now I think we'll see Stuart McKenzie potentially in the pits this lap, as he does have front left end plate damage on his front wing after a move. That move with Plebs. So now J Banks is probably going to get ahead now of Stuart McKenzie due to him having a full front wing, basically. Mounts that curve there to J Banks. J Banks doing a right job at the moment. So this, at the moment, it's currently actually a Mercedes powered top 4. Stuart McKenzie's staying out for another lap, but he's going to be much slower, as you can see. Then J Banks, but he gets a lot of oversteer there to J Banks. Plebs is now in the pit lane to change off those soft tyres. So that costs J Banks a little bit of time, but Stuart McKenzie has had to go off into the runoff area, which now moves the Mercedes driver up into P3. He's got his teammate now ahead of him. He's going to have to try and catch up to. You see, this is the gap. He's heading at the end of the straight now is Pecan and Amazing Hour. Watch, that gap is actually narrowing up at a fast rate of knots. As you can see, this is now J Banks at the end of the straight. So that is the gap. That is 8.7 seconds between the 2 Mercedes drivers at the moment. He's probably going to pull away from Stuart McKenzie is J Banks, due to the fact that he does have a full front wing, unlike Stuart McKenzie, who unfortunately just had a little tangle there with Plebs. Harry Tomato is now in the pit lane for the Alfa Romeo team as well. This battle's definitely starting to spice up now. P. Crine definitely seems to be the quicker driver at the moment out of himself and Amazing Hour. He's definitely stepped up a lot, has the Mercedes driver. Normally at this point Amazing Hour would be running away with it, but as it stands, he's not doing too bad. He's keeping behind the rear wing, or the rear gearbox rather, of that Williams. Under the motorway they go, or the highway, whatever you call it in Singapore. He's going to have DRS now as Pete Ryan. He won't be close enough to make a move. He runs wide on exit of the final corner. That most likely will give him a warning. I'm not too sure how many warnings he does have though. I'll point out as well, these two are on different tyre compounds. Actually, no, they're not. I should say Amazing Hour did end up qualifying on the medium tyre. So they are both on the same strategy by the looks of it. Gonna have to watch. J Banks is sitting at 8.5 seconds at the moment, so we'll see next lap if he's managing to catch up to these front two battling. The driver that's moved up the most spots at the moment is definitely Swaggy. He's actually moved up 11 spots out of anyone else at the moment. It's a very nice job there from the Alpha driver. But he's got Eye Contrast, who's starting to catch up to the back of him. Then behind him is Aaron L3F4, who is on the hard tyre. So the majority of drivers have swapped off the hard tyre, so the soft tyre, besides Harry Tomato, who's just gone on it for some reason. That won't last him very long. But anyway, it's still this man, F1 Amazing Hour, that leads the Grand Prix at the moment. Ahead of Pete Crichton behind him in the Mercedes. As you see, J Banks is sitting at 8.4 seconds at the moment, so he's not actually catching his teammate and Amazing Hour ahead of him at the moment. It's actually put a little bit of a gap now, has Amazing Hour. It's down to 8. It's out to 0.8 of a second. So will he have DRS when it comes to the next straight? Pete Crichton. I think he will have DRS, but it's going to be very narrow. He's just narrowly going to get it. Amazing Hour definitely seems to have the better ERS at the moment compared to Pete Crichton. Pete's running at the moment on 20% ERS. He's running in hot lap through this middle sector, so that definitely, if he's been doing that, that's definitely going to be what's chewing up his ERS. Plevs now down in P12 has set the fastest lap. He's got his eyes now on his teammate of Toddster, which I don't think they'll put up too much of a battle. You can see they're going through the fast right-handed now. Is Toddster. He actually clips the wall there to the Renault driver, and you see Plevs is now heading into that corner. That is the gap between the two Renault, well, the Works Renault cars. So Plevs now definitely seems to be pretty quick, swapping onto those medium tyres. He looks like he'll be doing a two-stop for this Grand Prix, hoping for a safety car towards the end of this race. Spilly looks like he's going to be trying to stretch out a one-stop as he's now put on the hard tyre. He may potentially swap onto the soft tyre if there is a very late safety car. There is a very high probability of a safety car around here. Pete's managed to close that gap up a little bit more to Amazing Hour. Let's have a look at what lap times everyone's doing at the moment. We're going to change this over to fastest lap. As you can see, the two leaders at the moment are in the 1 minute 40s. He's actually run wide there as Amazing Hour, so this is definitely going to edge Pete Crichton a lot closer than I think the Williams driver will want. Plebs is the only driver at the moment in the 1 minute 39s. He actually gets a bit of oversteer there to Pete Crichton. It's very hard to follow, unfortunately, around this track, and it's hard to overtake as well due to the fact that you can't get close to another driver. As you can see, Swag, we're going to run through order now as they are heading onto lap 9. Other drivers, lap 9 of 31. 22 laps remain in this Grand Prix. I don't think I got that right, but anyway. It is Amazing Hour that leads the Grand Prix ahead of this man who is starting to edge closer and closer. This is going to be tight. Will Pete Crichton try and do the undercut on Amazing Hour? I definitely wouldn't be surprised if you see him in 1 or 2 laps earlier than expected, just to get that edge or the undercut on Amazing Hour. Then it's his teammate J Banks sitting MP3 at the moment for a Mercedes 2-3 at the moment. Then you got Swaggy MP4 for the Alfa Romeo team, who's not made a pit stop yet. but is on the medium tyre. He's moved up 11 positions. Has Swaggy. Nice job to him. Aaron, who has not made a pit stop either, he is on the hard tyre, so we will not be expecting him in for a while. In Haas, he's moved up 7. Same as the Gaming Wafer, who was on the medium tyre in P6. P7 is Dubsy, who has made a pit stop, may I point out as well, but he's going to be on very, very worn medium tyres coming towards the end of the race. He's probably going to be doing a 2-stop strategy, same as the Racing Point behind him of Crossy. Harry Tomato's actually binned it, so we're going to have it right on board now with Extra Evolution. Unfortunately, now there's Extra Evolution. Actually, there is Harry Tomato on the exit of the right-hander. Will this potentially trigger a safety car? We've only ever seen one safety car in this league, may I point out. There's still a yellow flag, but no, they don't seem to be bringing out the safety car. Stewards have elected to keep them racing. We've only ever seen one safety car in this league, may I point out, and that was at the last round of the Italian Grand Prix, where we actually, I could say, famously saw every single one of the 20 drivers come into the pit lane at once. Every single driver came into the pit lane at that one time. If you want to go check that out, that is in the previous round at the Italian Grand Prix for the Hype Energy AOR PS4 Oceania League. P. Crine and Amazing Hour are sitting at pretty much an equal gap at the moment. They're not gaining or losing to each other as it stands. J Banks isn't catching or losing to his teammate at the moment in front of them either. So I definitely think we'll see P. Crine come into an early pit stop and try and do the undercut. He's just got to try and fall into a gap that will not lose him too much time. So I'm not too sure how long the pit stop times or the pit lane times are around here, but it is lap 10 of 31. We probably won't see these drivers in for... Actually, he does come into the pits now, does P. Crine. So he's going to be performing the undercut now. It's P. Crine. He dummied it. So he was trying to let Amazing Hour know that he was not coming into the pits, but did a very late move. And you see his Mercedes teammates, so his pit crew, out in the pit lane at the moment. Pretty average stop there from the Mercedes crew. Didn't seem to be too fast. But this is going to drop him down, I do believe, probably around where Crossy is at the moment. Maybe even Dubsy. Actually, no, I think he's going to come out between Dubsy and Crossy. As you can see, there's P. Crine coming out of the pit lane now. Crossy coming through the final corner. So he's got a little bit of free air at the moment. Has P. Crine. So this is definitely good for him. So will we see Amazing Hour in this lap? There's the yellow flag in Sector 1. We're going to see what that was for. That was coming through Turn 1, so I'm not too sure what's happened there. Might have just been a local yellow. But anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Amazing Hour respond to that undercut. As you know, these two are battling it for the championship at the moment. Amazing Hour does have a pretty sizable lead on P. Crine, but it is still anyone's race. Will we see this man in the pit lane this lap? That number 25 Williams. Crossy has now got a 3-second penalty down in P8. That's going to cost him a bit of time towards the end of the race. He is coming into the pits now. It's Amazing Hour. He is responding to the undercut. I'm pretty sure we'll see J Banks in potentially this lap as well. Will we see the Mercedes driver in this lap? He is coming into the pits. Is J Banks. So could he potentially hinder Amazing Hour's pit stop? No, because Amazing Hour pit bay is at the other end of the pit lane. My bad. But anyway, P. Crine is coming through the final sector now. Amazing Hour has just finished his pit stop, so he's going to be coming towards the end of the pit lane now. So where's P. Crine going to come out relative to him? He's coming out through the final corner now. Is P. Crine, and Amazing Hour is actually going to have a massive lead on P. Crine. And you see, that's the lead. So Amazing Hour was actually had a pretty good in-lap, and P. Crine's had a pretty bad out-lap. So now P. Crine is out of DRS range of Amazing Hour. He tried to do the undercut. There's still yellow flags in Sector 1. Who's that? That's actually Swaggy, I do believe. Is dropping down a few positions. He just got a 3-second penalty for corner cutting. El Tonki is now in a little tight battle with Contrast as well. Contrast moves up into P11. El Tonki's run wide, but Swaggy's actually cut the corner there, so he probably will get another warning. But they're going to have DRS on Contrast in front of him. El Tonki's going defensive, heading into down the straight, but he actually, I do believe, just let Swaggy go. I actually think El Tonki's got front wing damage, if I'm correct. Visually, it doesn't look like it is, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't. But now it is Aaron that leads the Grand Prix. He is on the hard tyres, so we're not expecting him in for a while. Gaming Wafer doing a very nice job managing those medium tyres very nicely. As you can see now, Gaming Wafer into the pit lane. He comes. That's Amazing Hour passing him now. And Pete Crichton, that's the gap, as you can see, between Amazing Hour and Pete. It's 1.7 seconds, so we're going to watch, especially Pete Crichton, to see if he's going to be able to catch back up to the driver in front of him. But Dubsy at the moment, who has made a very early pit stop now, is going to be passed in a second by Amazing Hour and Pete. So the driver that started P2 in this Grand Prix, unfortunately had to pit very early into this race. And that's starting on the soft tyre, just completely screwed the Ferrari driver up there. So now he's going to drop down behind Amazing Hour and Pete. You see, Plebs has now been passed by Crossy. So Crossy has now split the two Renault drivers. You see Amazing Hour's now catching up to the back of Dubsy. I don't think Dubsy will put up too much of a fight, considering they are on different strategies. He will have DRS. You can see Dubsy's got a lot of oversteer on the exit of the final corner. J-Banks now has a 3-second penalty for multiple corner cutting warnings. Definitely got a lot more grip at the moment. It has Amazing Hour. There's still yellow flag through sector 1. That's actually J-Banks dropping a lot of position, so I think he's spun around. He has on the final corner. Has J-Banks. So I do believe he was in a little tight battle with Stuart McKenzie, so he may have had a little bit of an incident there with the Williams driver. And now Plebs has moved himself ahead of Crossy. They have both swapped positions now, moving Plebs into P6. He's got his teammate in front of him now. He's going to have to try and hunt down and get ahead of. Todser definitely seems to be a bit slower or holding these two up at the moment. Pete Crichton now has got ahead of Dubsy. Dubsy won't put up too much of a fight. He'll be hoping for a late race safety car. Will the Ferrari driver to chuck on a fresh set of soft tyres, or potentially another set of medium tyres, which will make him very quick towards the end of this race. Plebs has now got ahead of his teammate. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of team orders coming into that. They did both just swap around there. For position 5. So now Plebs has 8 seconds, 8.5 seconds. He's got to try and catch up to Dubsy. But then that's around 9.5 seconds. He's got to try and catch up to Pete Crichton ahead of him. So our pole position driver of Plebs has unfortunately not had the ideal race pace. Well, the pace that he did have in qualifying. as I'm about to bring up on screen now, you will see the Season 3 results of the AOR PS4 OCEANIA League. Crossy has now got a 3-second penalty, so I do believe that is out to 6 seconds worth of penalties now for that Racing Point driver. Yellow flag in Sector 2. What's that for? That's actually Jay Banks is now retired from the session. So we're going to ride on board with Altonki to try and see what's happened with him. Could this potentially be the safety car that Dubsy is looking for? Wouldn't be surprised if it's on the exit of this corner. No, it's not. So we're going to see right on board with Altonki for a little bit longer to see where this has happened. He's actually run really wide as Altonki. Narrowly misses the wall there. Yellow flags into this section. So this is probably where he's crashing. As you can see, that's his car of Jay Banks' Mercedes in the wall there. So could this bring out a safety car? These yellow flags are staying out for a long time. Nah, the yellow flags have gone now, so. Now, Dubsy is now coming to the pit lane. What tyres is that for? Is that most likely a fresh set of mediums? It is a fresh set of mediums, so he's definitely going to be one to watch towards the end of this Grand Prix. I do believe he's probably going to come out between. It's actually going to be tight, I think, between Dubsy and Spilly. No, Spilly's managed to get ahead of Dubsy. As you can see on your screen now, these were the Season 3 race results. Unfortunately, none of these drivers are in the league as it is, but it was VP Norfolk Blue who took the win around here in Season 3 of the AOR Hype Energy PS4 OCEANIA League. Ahead of Pure Axel and MLJH999. Norfolk Blue. Norfolk Bowl Blue, I believe. I'm not too sure, but anyway. Did qualify on pole position as well. This was its qualifying time, as you can see. It was the 1 minute 34.982. I do apologise that writing is a little bit bold. I will fix that for next race. But anyway, we will be interviewing the winner of this Grand Prix. But right now, if a safety car can come out. Actually, that's Swaggy and Contrast going at it. Going into the right-hander. They did make wheel-to-wheel contact, and Contrast had to back out of it, so they did not make contact into the wall. But Swaggy has now moved himself up into P8 for the Grand Prix. That's actually Storm McKenzie and Crossy going at it. Coming into turn 1. Crossy tried to fight back to keep his position on Storm McKenzie, but Storm McKenzie's managed to hold on to P6. Or get ahead of Crossy, I should say. Now, Tonki sitting in P13 has now got a 3-second time penalty for the Haas F1 team. Tots is actually holding up this little battle pack here. Will Storm McKenzie dive down the inside? He does defend. Does Tots. So there's a yellow flag in Sector 3. Could we potentially see a safety car? They've actually made contact there. Has Tots and Storm McKenzie. Potential front wing damage here for the Williams or Renault driver. Doesn't look like it visually. So they will carry on racing. These drivers are running full damage. You can see our race leader now. Aaron is about to head on to the 18th lap. But as you can see, look at the gap now between P. Crichton and Amazing Al. I actually haven't realised this in any way whatsoever. But P. Crichton has mowed down F1 Amazing Al after making a unfortunate strategy call. These drivers are both on the hard tyre as well. But that's Aaron getting out of the way of these two. So that's definitely going to help Pete, because now Amazing Al does not have DRS on the driver in front, or any drivers in front of him. So this is going to edge Pete closer and closer to the rear gearbox, or the gearbox, I should say, of F1 Amazing Al. Plevs is looking pretty solid at the moment for a position 3 finish. That could potentially change if these two do have an incident. Todd's has now got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And Dubsy goes fastest in the Ferrari down in P9 with the 1 minute 38.5. He's really close now. Is P. Crichton. Running in hot lap mode at the moment is P. Crichton. Unlike the driver in front of him of Amazing Al running in none. Very close to him now is P. Crumb. Will he dive down the inside? Heading into the hairpin. He's a little bit too far behind. He thinks about it. He's going to dive down the inside. They made contact there. Did the two leaders. They definitely looked like, because he ran a narrow line into the right king, it definitely was pretty obvious though he's going to try and make a move. But he definitely seems to be strongest through there, does P. Grind. So that could potentially be a little warning sign to Amazing Al, letting him know, hey, this is where I'm going to be making a move on you. There's no passing through here. It is a one-way line through this final sector. But he's putting the pressure on Amazing Al now. Is P. Crichton. They are heading onto lap 19. This is going to be a very tight battle towards the end of this Grand Prix. Let me know in the chat who you think is going to win the Grand Prix. Hello everyone, welcome to the chat. Welcome Miro, Kitsana, Chris, Nolan and Krazer. Welcome to the stream, guys. But anyway, this is the battle for the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix. As it stands, F1 Amazing Al, the two title contenders. As you can see on your screen now, the two title contenders of Amazing Al and Pete are going at it for the win of the Grand Prix. He's definitely really close to him now. Is P. Crichton. Todster has a 3-second penalty. Amazing Al runs wide there. Will seem to just get a little bit of understeer on exit. They're about to head onto lap 20 of the Grand Prix as they are now heading through sector 3. Plebs has actually dropped a few positions here. I'm not too sure what's happened there to the Renault driver. He may have actually had spun around or got into a little incident with someone, because now he's dropped all the way back down to P10. We're going to have a look to see if he's actually made another pit stop. He's made 2 stops now, has Plebs there. He's actually coming for his 2nd stop there. So he's going to be quick. He's going to have his eyes now on Spilly in front of him, who hasn't got too much of a gap between him and the gaming wafer at the moment. 1.2 seconds between those two. But now heading on to lap 20. The current standings at the moment is F1 Amazing Al, who leads away ahead of this man P. Crichton. Then it is Stuart McKenzie currently sitting MP3. Nice job there for Williams, but I do believe he does have to make another pit stop. Actually, no, he may have actually started on the medium tyre. Let's have a look. He has actually already made a stop, so I do believe Stuart McKenzie's going to the end. So he's actually done a very nice job there. He's moved up 5 spots, as Stuart McKenzie in the Williams. So he's done a nice, good performance there from Stuart McKenzie. Aaron, who has now made a pit stop and has basically overcutted half the field into P8. Sorry, up 8 positions into P4. Swaggy. Sorry, Dubsy in contrast actually just tangled a little bit there. I do believe they made actually a little bit of contact, I think I saw in the background. But now that moves Swaggy up into P5. But he's got Dubsy right under his gearbox. Will he try and make a move into the hairpin? He's actually got a little bit too much of a gap now. That's Swaggy's going to try and dive down the inside as Dubsy, but thought better of it. He's going to sit back behind him for another lap. Eye contrast is right there as well in P7. Then you got Gaming Wafer in P8, who's moved up 5 positions. But currently the driver of the day is Swaggy at the moment, sitting in P5, who has moved up 10 spots. Spilly in P9 now. For Racing Point, unfortunately dropped 4 spots, and Plebs in P10. Our pole position man unfortunately did not have the race pace, and unfortunately had to pit on lap 4 if I was correct, as there is 10 laps remaining in this Grand Prix. Due to tyre wear, he had to pit on lap 4. Crossy is now in P11, who unfortunately has not been able to convert his good qualifying into good race pace. Todd's in P12 for Renault, and 13th, rounding out your final of the finishing drivers. I think Revolution's having a bit of technical difficulties, and that's El Tonki, who's massively hit the wall there on the exit there of, I'm trying to see what corner this is. That's actually the hairpin, one of the hairpins. El Tonki's actually mounted the wall, so he's got massive front wing damage now. How's El Tonki? Extra Evolution is having technical difficulties there with his car, so I'm not too sure if he's actually racing or not, but Pete Crichton is still right on the rear of Amazing Al. They both, actually, if you think about it, if you have a look, Pete Crichton does have a bit more DRS at the moment. Swaggy's actually in the wall now. Where's this at? I'm trying to have a look when he comes around this corner. This is heading into the hairpin, so could this potentially bring out a safety car for this Grand Prix? As you can see his car heading off into the runoff area now. Unfortunate end to the Grand Prix. It is a safety car, so now this is going to bunch everyone back up, as now El Tonki's actually retired from the session as well. So now there is a safety car in this Grand Prix, the second safety car of the season. So we've only actually seen safety cars towards the end of the season. First safety car being at the start, last race in Italy. Yeah, this is going to bunch everyone up. There's actually Crossy there that hit the wall. So he's actually got front wing damage now. As you can see, the front left end plate has front wing is damaged on his car. So he's going to have to come in for a pit stop, which will most likely drop him behind Todster. We're going to see people in the pits. We see a lot of people in the pits now. So now everyone is jumping onto the soft tyre with 9 laps remaining in this Grand Prix. This is going to be a full sprint towards the end of the race. Everyone's going to have fresh ERS, fresh fuel. They're going to have a lot of fuel to play with and a lot of ERS, so this is definitely going to be tight, especially between these front two drivers. This is actually, if anything, helped Dubsy massively. And Plevs as well. I'm not sure if Plevs made a pit stop there. He's actually already made a pit stop. So now he's back in the running for the potential win here, or the potential podium. For the Renault driver, Stuart McKenzie has made a pit stop. He's gone back down to P5. He's elected to go the medium tyre, not the soft tyre, so that's going to be interesting to see how he goes. Aaron is in P6 at the moment. Contrast in P7. I don't believe he made a pit stop. Trying to prioritise track position, I should say. So there you see Todster. Crossy did come into the pits to change his front wing. So did Todster, so he's not going to lose any positions there. Is the Racing Point driver. This is going to move Spilly up closer to the gaming wafer as well. Box, box, box. Yes, definitely. Remy. This is going to be a full sprint to the end of the race. I'm going to put your Italian Grand Prix race results here up on your screen from the previous round, round 14. At Monza, it was Pete Crichton that won the Grand Prix for Mercedes ahead of the McLaren of 40, who unfortunately was unable to make it this afternoon. And then Plevs, the man that started on pole position, who is currently now sitting at MP4, rounded out the podium that day. And unfortunately, the man that we're currently spectating or riding on board with, unfortunately spun around at the exit of the Ascari chicane and put it into the wall, which cost him a fair few points there on P. Crichton. So we can have a quick look here at your championship standings between the front two drivers. As you can see, F1 Amazing is sitting on 293 points, and P. Crichton is on 233. So that is 60 points between the front two drivers. I'm sorry, my math is terrible, but anyway. 60 points between Amazing and P. Crichton. So technically, if you think about it, Amazing can afford another DNF, but that's not going to be ideal for him. We are currently under safety car conditions here for the Singapore Grand Prix. This is going to be a complete sprint towards the end of this race. Let me know in the comments section or the live chat who you predict is going to win this Grand Prix. Kraz is rooting for Dubsy. Currently sitting in P3 at the moment. Who's on the medium tyre, may I point out. P. Crichton is on the soft. And Amazing has actually gone onto the medium. So this actually could work in P. Crichton's favour, because there won't be many laps left in the Grand Prix. As you can see, that is P. Crichton running in 8th gear, trying to save as much fuel as possible. I do believe the safety car will be in this lap. Currently there's 11 drivers remaining in this Grand Prix. Don't count voice cry. Don't count Extra Evolution. Down in P16 he has unfortunately had a few connection issues if I'm correct. But anyway, we will most likely see the safety car in this lap. You see Amazing Al trying to get as much heat into the tires as he can. Let me know in the comment section again who you think is going to win the Singapore Grand Prix. It could be anyone's race at this point. Safety car in this lap, as you can see at the bottom left of your screen. So now it is up to when Amazing Al wants to go, basically. When the safety car enters the pit lane, there will be green flag racing, and it will be up to him when he accelerates. Sorry, I need a bit of water, because I'm going to be probably yelling towards the end of this race, but anyway. Let me know if my mic audio is a little bit too loud as well. I do tend to yell at times when it does get a bit exciting, but anyway. When will Amazing Al go? He's currently under Delta at the moment, so he can't go until the safety car is in. It will tell you at the top left of your screen when the safety car is in the pit lane. He's trying to get as much heat in the tyres as possible. It's Amazing Al. He's actually gone now as Amazing Al. So Pete's been caught napping a little bit there, so now he's dropped 0.5 of a second, but now Amazing Al is going to be on this harder of tyres at the moment, so this is definitely going to be the right strategy call for Pete. I don't think Amazing Al is going to be on the right tyre to utilise the amount of grip, but now Stuart McKenzie's got ahead of Plebs, and they're going to go side by side. Is Aaron and Plebs coming into this fast right hander. He's going to try and hang it around the outside though, is Aaron, but he's not going to get the grip that he needs, but he's got the better traction out of that right hander. And manages, will he be able to keep P5? He actually cuts Plebs off there and manages to get into the top 5 position. Very nice job there from Aaron. Showing a very good performance late race here is the Harsh driver. Normally struggles to get into the top 8, but is doing a very nice job at the moment in P5. Plebs had a very poor restart there. He's got eye contrast right behind him. But now Pete's dived down the inside of F1 Amazing Al to take the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix. Plebs has now got back ahead of Aaron. So Aaron's actually had a little bit of an issue there on the exit of the final corner. Has he got front wing damage? He has. He's got left end plate damage, so he's hit the wall. Has the Harsh driver, so that's very unfortunate there for Aaron. He was looking very quick towards the end of this race. And now that's unfortunately, with 7 laps to go, that's going to put him towards the back, as there was just a safety car. But this battle is all spicing up now. Everyone is still very close to each other, besides the front 3. P. Crine leads away ahead of Amazing Al. We will be interviewing the winner of the Grand Prix. Yellow flag in Sector 1. What's happened there? Has someone had an issue? Not too sure. I think that was just Aaron running wide, but he does have front end plate damage. I think that's unfortunate there. I think Aaron might... Oh, I thought he was going to rage quit there, but anyway. P. Crine now starting to pull away from F1 Amazing Al. Dubsy and Contrast are going at it. Contrast now moves himself up into P4 ahead of Plebs, I should say. Plebs gets very close to the rear of that Ferrari, but now Contrast with the better wear, with the better tyres, has moved himself up into P4 ahead of Plebs. So it is currently a Mercedes in P1 at the moment. Then you got a Williams and a Ferrari 3-4 at the moment. Very nice job there from the Ferrari team. This will gain them a fair few points in the constructors' standings. They've got a massive gap, but now actually I do believe Stuart McKenzie has just drilled Plebs there into the hairpin, so that's going to definitely cost him a lot of straight line speed down the straight, but Gaming Life is a little bit too far behind to make a move on Stuart McKenzie there, so I think Stuart McKenzie there backed out of that move on Plebs. He did drill him, I'm pretty sure, coming into the hairpin, drill Plebs. I think he just backed out of it and let Plebs keep the position due to the fact that he nearly spun him around. There is 6 laps remaining in this Grand Prix, about to be 5. P. Crine crosses the line now. DRS is re-enabled now. Amazing Al is still keeping with P. Crine. I do not want to leave this battle, but this battle pack at the back here is still going. These drivers are still going at it. Amazing Al is really close at the moment to P. Crine. As you can see, Pete's got no ERS to use at the moment. Unlike Amazing AO, is going to be right on the rear of P. Crichton. They're going to go side by side. Coming into this fast right hand, he's going to squeeze him against the wall. There's P. Crichton. Will he dive back down the inside? No, he doesn't. He's going to sit behind him, save his ERS, and potentially dive it in towards the end of the race. Aaron's retired from the session down at the back. Unfortunate there from the Haas driver, who was looking very quick towards the end of the Grand Prix. And I do believe that's Storm McKenzie, who has dropped a few positions. And it's actually Plebs that has lost his entire front wing now. Very unfortunate there for the Renault driver. He still will come home in P10 if he finishes the race, due to the fact that there is only 10 drivers remaining in this Grand Prix. But P. Crichton now has been overtaken again by Amazing AO. He can't let that gap get out of 5 tenths. 5 tenths is the absolute maximum that he can let between him and F1 Amazing AO at the moment. He's got no ERS to play with, as P. Crichton. He's been known for probably not being the best with saving ERS. And you see Amazing AO's actually got a pretty sizable lead now on P. Crichton. He's got over a second now, but when they did cross the detection line, P. Crichton was within a second. So Amazing AO is pulling away massively. P. Crichton had half of his hand on the trophy, but unfortunately Amazing AO has just completely pushed his hand away, and he's taking that trophy back. Now the two Ferraris are actually going at it now for P3 in this Grand Prix. Eye contrast, looking for a podium now. He's got a very good run on his teammate. He's going to switch to the outside, coming into the right-hand corner. They're going to make wheel-to-wheel contact, and Dubsy has spun around. The two Ferraris have come together. What's new? But now that moves eye contrast up into P3. Definitely will be some probable heated words towards the end of this Grand Prix between the two Ferrari drivers. But now Contrast is looking at a podium paying position at the moment. If I do recall, I think it was in, not Belgium, I think Germany, he may have picked up a podium. I'm not too sure in Contrast. But now, as you can see, Amazing AO's got 1.6 seconds. So these soft tyres of P. Crichton definitely seem to be dropping off now. So the medium tyre at the moment actually seemed to be the best tyre. If P goes a bit, starts to lose too much time at the moment, Eye Contrast could be potentially looking at a second place here. But Dubsy looks like he's about to start falling into the hands of the gaming wafer, who is looking to be our driver of the day at the moment, moving up 8 positions in this Grand Prix. Benotto is not happy at all. I agree, Miro. Yellow flag, sector 2. And maybe Plevs. I actually think that was Plevs. So I think at the moment, Plevs will be going for the fastest lap of the Grand Prix now. You see, he's saving up all his ERS. He's running none. So I think the best thing he can do is he's got 45 seconds between him and Crossy in front of him. He's just got to try and go for the fastest lap on those soft tyres. They are fresh as well. Now, as you can see, that gap between Amazing AO and P. Crichton is extended to 2.5 seconds. So Amazing AO running away with it now, with 3 laps remaining in this Grand Prix. We're going to have to watch Plevs now as he's starting his lap. He's running in hot lap, so he is going for the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Let's see what time he can do. Let's have a look real quick to see what the fastest lap is. It's currently a 37.5 set by P. Crichton, and Plevs has set a 37.9, but Plevs has only been on the soft tyre for around 4 laps in this Grand Prix, and that was for the first 4 laps in this Grand Prix. So he's got 2 tenths faster than his fastest time at the moment. So he's got a little bit of time he's got to try and make up if he wants to get that fastest lap off P. Crichton. He's currently looking at around a 7 at the moment if he stays at around that 2/10 mark faster. But he's got to try and get into the 1 minute 37s. We're going to put this back to interval. Contrast doesn't seem to be catching up to Pete Crichton. Pete actually seems to be pulling away at the moment from Contrast. But then again, Amazing Al is pulling away from Pete Crichton. So, Amazing Al is about to start the penultimate lap. He's heading through Sector 2 now. You have to watch Plebs as well as he's heading through the final sector. He's 6/10 up on his time. So we're going to see what time the Renault driver is able to do. I think if he does go fastest here, I don't think any other drivers will be able to beat it, due to the fact that they are all on worn tyres. He's going to come across the line now. His Plebs, and he does go faster for the 36.8. So I don't believe any other drivers are actually on the soft tyre. Actually, there are drivers on the soft tyre, I should say, but aren't going to be fast enough, or will not have the tyre wear, I should say, to go faster than Plebs' time. So he's going to pick up potentially 2 points here this afternoon for the Singapore Grand Prix. Unfortunate end to this man's race, as he did qualify on pole with a blistering lap ahead of Dubsy, who is now sitting in P4, but unfortunately chose the wrong tyre to qualify on. Only lasted 4 laps in this Grand Prix and had to come in due to massive tyre wear. But Amazing Al is now starting the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. Todd says still with the gaming wafer. That's still McKenzie coming into the pit lane. Does he have front wing damage? I think he may. So there would be no need at the moment to come into the pits, unless he's trying to go for the fastest lap, which he'll probably be putting on the soft tyres. He is changing his front wing. It's still McKenzie. I definitely think he could have stayed out for a bit longer, but he will put on the soft tyres and have one time lap to try and beat Plebs. Plebs' fastest lap. If I was Plebs at the moment, she's a little bit too far back. Is Plebs at the moment. So Storm McKenzie will sit in P9 at the moment. If he can get the fastest lap, he will pick up 3 points, championship points, here in this afternoon's Grand Prix. The closest battle at the moment is between the 2 Racing Points. Spilly actually hit the wall there on the exit of that long left-hander. So now his teammate is right on the rear of him. You can see they're both understeering massively through this middle sector. Will he dive down the inside cross? He's deep under brakes, but his teammate defends it. No team orders at the moment from the Racing Point team. We're definitely actually going to have to watch Stuart McKenzie now. As you can see, he's running in no ERS. So he's going to be trying to get that fastest lap of the Grand Prix off Plebs. I'm going to have a quick look to see what time Plebs actually set there. He set a 1 minute 36.8, and Stuart McKenzie's fastest is a 40.8. So he's got around 3.8 seconds, 4.8 seconds, something like that. He's going to try and make up. Has Stuart McKenzie. They are heading on to the final lap now. Are all the drivers. This definitely seems to be the battle at the moment. Or Todd's doing the gaming wave. We're going to actually have to watch that battle as well. This battle definitely seems to be a little bit more spicier between the 2 Racing Points. Heading on to the final lap of the Grand Prix now, as you can see. It's between Spilly and Crossy for position 7. I don't know why Spilly wasn't running in hot lap mode there. He has a lot of ERS to play with. It is the last lap of the Grand Prix, so you can absolutely burn as much ERS as you want. But unfortunately for Spilly, he's going to have a lot of understeer, I should say, as he is following his teammate in front of him, and he will be getting that dirty air effect. But anyway, Amazing Al comes through the final sector now. Hard fought win there for Amazing Al. It hasn't been a breeze for him like normal, but it is redemption day for F1 Amazing Al. He takes a win in the Singapore Grand Prix for Williams Racing, Rocket Williams Racing. Nice job there from Amazing Al. P. Crichton's going to come home just under 10 seconds between him and Amazing Al. As you can see, that's the gap between him and Contrast In the end, so Contrast, if he had 5 more laps, Contrast could have been looking for a potential P2 in this race. Dubsy is now going to come home P4 for a Ferrari 3-4. Toddster now moves up into P5. Ahead of the Gaming Wafer, as Gaming Wafer did have time penalties. Crossy is going to beat his teammate to the line. But Spilly, on time penalties, is going to move ahead of his teammate in P7. Nice job there for the 2 racing points. Stuart McKenzie comes home P9. Will come home P9. Let's see if he's able to get the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Is he able to do it? No, he isn't, unfortunately. So Plebs is going to keep that fastest lap. He's going to take home 2 points for the Singapore Grand Prix. But that has been your AOR Hype Energy PS4 Oceania Singapore Grand Prix. Well-deserved win there for F1 Amazing Hour. Give me 1 second. We're going to invite our race leader to the commentary box to have a quick post-race interview. And you see these are the drivers out on the podium now. So here are your provisional results for the AOR Hype Energy Singapore Grand Prix. F1 Amazing Hour takes the win after a hard-fought battle with P-Crime. In the end, for P2, he falls in, does P-Crime. Contrast comes home in P3 for Ferrari, ahead of his teammate Dubsy, who did make contact in the dying stages of the Grand Prix. So that could potentially be looked at by the stewards post-race. Then we have Todd in P5 for Renault. Nice job for him. Gaming Way for P6 in Red Bull. Spilly in P7 managed to just get ahead of his teammate with time penalties. In the end, Crossy coming home P9. P9 for P8, I should say, for Crossy. P9 for Plebs. And rounding out your top 10 is Stuart McKenzie. He actually moved ahead of Stuart McKenzie there, did Plebs. So that's going to bring him home 3 points is for the Renault driver. That is your top 10 results there for the Singapore Grand Prix. As you can see now on your screens, that is F1 Amazing Hour, our race winner. That has joined the party. Congratulations on the win, man. Definitely a hard-fought race in the end.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. It was definitely a tough one. Really had to work for that one, but nice to get a bit of redemption for what happened at Italy. That was totally self-inflicted last week, and it's been eating away at me. I'm not going to lie, for several days afterwards, and just nice to get back on the top step. And yeah, that's redemption for last week.
Definitely, but how was the pressure there from P. Crichton, especially the move in the end there at the hairpin? Had made contact with wheel-to-wheel contact in the end. Did you get any damage off that at all?
No, I was able to come away from that unscathed. Yeah, that whole race was just him piling on the pressure, and I made a couple of mistakes here and there, mainly just with pinching brakes, but I was just able to be quick enough in the areas where I needed to be. But that was one of the hardest races I've had to work for in a long time. So yeah, I'm not going to lie, I really enjoyed that. It was a good fight with him, and able to come away with another win. So on to next week.
Definitely. Congratulations there on your win, Amazing Hour. That has been the AOR Hype Energy PS4 Oceania Singapore Grand Prix. Thank you guys so much for joining. My name is Expert, and I will see you guys next time.